In the early 1980s, the progressive design of the Audi 100 set new standards. So it was a logical step to develop this concept further when producing a new line of models. The new Audi 100 is a handsome and distinguished design with a refined aerodynamic shape. The swept-down front and rear aprons and the bumpers finished in body colour underline this visual impression. The distinctive flared wheel arches also add to the feeling of solidity conveyed by the compact body shape with its sculpted character. The car's clean lines are continued rearwards, terminating at the integral lip provided for airflow separation. At the front, the car is distinguished by the new characteristic Audi face. Although the wheelbase is unchanged, the Audi 100 now rides on a firmer suspension, which is noticeably wider than on the previous model. The overall width of the body has been slimmed down by 37 millimeters without sacrificing any of the interior space. The side windows are now more upright than before, a change which also helps to keep down interior temperatures in strong sunlight. The roof is 36 millimeters wider and 10 millimeters higher. This goes to benefit headroom. As well as a water drain moulding at the top of the door frames, the roof now also has a small rain channel. In spite of these changes aimed to improve comfort, the car's drag factor has actually been improved to a figure of 0.29, partly thanks to detail development on the floor panel. The new Audi 100 will be marketed initially with the familiar and successful 5-cylinder engine and an extensively revised 4-cylinder. But the most important power unit is a completely new 6-cylinder developed to meet the exacting demands in this sector of the market. The new engine produces impressive quantities of torque, but also revs willingly and responds quickly. It's extremely compact and weighs only 161 kilograms, making it the shortest and lightest engine of this capacity currently available. A 90-degree V configuration allows a short front overhang and good weight distribution. The power output from a capacity of 2.8 litres is 128 kilowatts or 174 brake horsepower. Maximum torque is 245 Newton-meters at only 3,000 RPM, the best specific torque output of any two-valve engine currently on the market. Using Super Plus fuel even puts the figure up to 250 Newton-meters. One reason for this good torque and power delivery is a completely new multi-path intake manifold. Each cylinder has one short pipe for high power and one long pipe for high torque. The torque gain from the newly developed manifold starts at 2,000 RPM. At 4,000 RPM, 6 flaps open up to divert the airstream to achieve maximum power. Compared with a fixed manifold, this gives much more power and up to 30 Newton-meters more torque, as shown in green in the diagram. A high standard of refinement has been achieved with a number of design measures, including the short, rigid engine block, a stiff crankshaft, a rigid connection between engine and gearbox, and minimum bearing clearances. For even firing, the big end journals on the crankshaft are offset by 30 degrees. All engine ancillaries are driven by a single poly V-belt with automatic tensioner. The digitally mapped ignition of the V6 employs 3 dual ignition coils mounted on the engine, thus dispensing with the distributor. Selective knock control monitors the combustion process via 2 sensors. The all-electronic fuel injection is sequential. In other words, it feeds each cylinder separately. A microprocessor controls the mixture. Exhaust emissions are cleaned up by 2 butterfly catalytic converters. They are designed for maximum throughput and compact size. 2 heated oxygen sensors give a separate feedback for each cylinder bank, giving more sensitive emission control. The new Audi 6-cylinder meets the current US emission standards. The 2.8e version of the new Audi 100 with this engine accelerates from 0 to 100 km per hour in 8 seconds. Top speed is 218 km per hour, 136 miles per hour. Fuel consumption is 7 litres per 100 kilometres at a constant 90 kilometres per hour. 8.6 litres at a constant 120 kilometres per hour. And 12.5 litres per 100 kilometres in the urban cycle. As well as the new V6, a 2-litre 4-cylinder engine with 74 kilowatts or 101 brake horsepower, a 2.3-litre 5-cylinder engine with 98 kilowatts, that's 133 brake horsepower, will be available at the market introduction as power units for the 3 front-wheel drive models and 2 quattro models. 2 more petrol engines and 2 diesel engines will be added to the range next year. The new Audi 100 has a 5-speed manual gearbox as standard, but a 4-speed automatic transmission will also be marketed for front-wheel drive models in the near future. The running gear of the new Audi 100 is based on the familiar and successful Audi layout, in front-wheel drive or quattro form. As before, front suspension is by McPherson struts, with rack and pinion steering, and front-wheel drive models have a torsion beam rear axle. The Quattro powertrain employs a Torsen center differential with automatic locking function and a manual differential lock at the rear. Rear suspension on Quattro models is by trapezium arms and coil spring struts. Improvements to the chassis have optimized the ride and handling of the new car. All models have 15-inch wheels, which is a significant advantage for ride comfort and also gives room to accommodate the new servo-assisted brakes. They have a larger disc area and uprated calipers for reliable stopping power. The new Audi 100 has a progressive brake servo and a load-sensitive proportioning valve on all models, and ABS is standard from the 2.3e version upwards. The standard tyres, 65 series and 195 millimeters wide, give good grip and a smooth ride. All the main suspension elements have large volume bushes with different compliance rates for different directions of loading. This gives an improved ride and better suppression of road noise. The chassis and suspension have large reserves of safety and ensure a neutral or slightly understeering handling response, even close to the limit. In other words, the reactions of the Audi 100 are always predictable for the driver. Straight line tracking is stable, and the car isn't put off course by crosswinds or uneven surfaces. The power-assisted rack and pinion steering gives a precise feel, and the speed-sensitive servotronic system can be installed as an option. Thanks to the rigidity of its body shell, Audi was able to give the new Audi 100 firmer suspension settings without impairing comfort. On the road, the Audi 100 feels compact, with an accurate steering response and a smooth and well-balanced ride. This was achieved by extending and strengthening the front body side members and reinforcing the side structure at the rear. Cross bracing was also added between the two side members. Extra rigidity was contributed by a new technique used for the first time by Audi. The roof panel and roof frame are bonded together. With such a strong body structure, the car can tow loads up to 1,900 kilograms. The safety cell for the passengers has been improved further, with reinforcement in the door area and more strength to resist a frontal impact or rollover. Extra bracing was added to the floor pan, and the structural joints and panel thicknesses were optimized. To help resist side impacts, all the doors are reinforced with strong aluminium beams. The door latches are positioned to withstand large forces. The door frames are crash-proof, so the doors will still open even if the body is badly damaged. The fuel tank is in a protected location close to the rear axle. As well as all these measures to strengthen the body structure, the Procon 10 safety system, which is a standard feature, is worth special mention. The system is both simple and reliable. In an impact, the steering wheel is pulled away from the driver, and at the same time the front seat belts are pulled taut. When Procon 10 is combined with a steering wheel airbag, available as an option in 1991, it's a uniquely effective safety system. In this crash test, the slow motion shows how the increased distance between the driver and steering wheel provides space for a bigger airbag to protect the driver's head. The new Audi 100 is also an exceptionally quiet car. For extra refinement, it has a noise-insulating floor pan, a complete one-piece carpet system with the insulating sandwich, a noise-absorbing headliner, and a partially enclosed engine compartment with insulated bonnet panel. To cut wind noise, the side windows are flush with the body and the exterior mirrors are streamlined. At 130 kilometers per hour, the recommended autobahn speed limit, the noise level is only 71.5 decibels. The heater and ventilation system are also noticeably quieter. A larger number of outlets ensures silent air delivery to the interior, with temperature easily controllable. Manual or automatic air conditioning is available as optional equipment. The new Audi 100 has plenty of space for 5 occupants. The driver's seat has a special mechanism that raises the whole seat without changing the tilt angle. Five-position height adjustment is provided for the front seat belts, and the outer belts at the rear can be adjusted laterally with 3 different settings. In keeping with the overall design, the line of the engine bonnet is continued over the top of the fascia and through to the door trims. The door pillars and headliner are normally finished in light tones to complement the upholstery colours and make for pleasant surroundings inside the car. The driver sits behind a 4-spoke steering wheel with a commanding view of the non-reflective instruments. Steering wheel adjustment is also available as an option. There's a wide selection of optional extras, one of which has an interesting detail. The headlight washer jets retract automatically. They just come out for about 1 second to wash the lenses with water at a pressure of 4 bar. The mechanism for the luggage compartment lid is also interesting. The hinges are designed so they stay clear of the load space when the lid is closed. 2 gas-filled struts help to raise the lid. Its capacity is 510 litres and it's easily loaded. With so many qualities, the new Audi 100 meets the highest standards of refinement, quality and general road abilities. Its design also reflects a concern for the environment and limited resources. With its handsome appearance and modern power units, especially the new V6, this car has the potential to gain new ground at the top of the mid-range market.
Der neue Audi 100. Noch sicherer fühlen Sie sich vermutlich nur zu Hause.
The German Saloon Car Racing Championships 1990. Audi takes up the challenge. The start of the first race at Zolder in Belgium. Racing for Audi, Hans-Joachim Stuck. The competition's cars are almost 200 kilos lighter than the V8 Quattro. Despite this, 1990 will not be an empty year, as Stuck had suspected before the race. In addition to delivering 400 brake horsepower, Audi has also introduced a 4-wheel drive car to a racetrack for the first time. After just a few rounds, Stuck is already getting the fans out of their seats with his attacks. And in the second race, third place for Stuck and Audi. And in the following races, Stuck is nearly always up amongst the leaders. At the Avus in Berlin comes the first triumph. The southern hairpin, no problem for the Audi's powerful engine. The 6-speed gearbox and the Quattro drive unit propelled Stuck quickly to the front. In the saloon car races, which have no subcategories, Audi's new concept shows its strengths. In the 7th round of the German Saloon Car Championship, Stuck drives to victory, then is closely followed by Dieter Quester, who slides spectacularly but uninjured across the line in third place. And in the 8th round, Stuck again takes the checkered flag. 2 victories at Avus. Not bad today. It proved that we can feel well at home on the motorways with the V8. The victors do, however, have a disadvantage. The rules weigh heavy in the truest sense of the phrase on the best drivers, for it's stipulated that the winner of a particular race must then endure a weight penalty in the next round. The start of the 15th round of the German Saloon Car Championships at Norrisring. Stuck receives support, not just from the fans, but from Walter Roll, who drives the second V8 Quattro without an additional weight and is straight away at the front of the field. Stuck fights his way to the front, and in doing so is involved in an exciting duel with Roberto Ravaglia. Just a few meters from the finish, Roll lets his team colleague past and blocks the path for his pursuer. A double victory for Audi and the championship lead for Stuck. The Quattro drive system really delivers what it promises. My car went like a bullet coming out of the corners. The Bullet car receives an additional weight of 80 kilos from the organising committee because of its technical superiority. After the request of Audi, after the aerodrome race at Diefels, 50 kilos are taken off. The starting weight is set at 1,250 kilos until the end of the season. The decisive race at Hockenheimring. It's a bad start for the favourite and championship leader Johnny Cecotto in a BMW. He's involved in a first-lap accident, and at the restart he must line up in the pit lane with his spare car. The track is clear for Hans-Joachim Stuck. Along with Walter Roll, there is also Frank Jelinski at his side in this exciting race who drives the third Audi V8 Quattro. Right from the start, these three are all in the top group. Klaus Ludwig tries unsuccessfully to remove Stuck from first place. In the last lap, the Mercedes driver falls back. The result, a three-way triumph for Audi. It was simply great, he laughs. I mean, if I'd have had the same car, then I would have beaten Stuck. And then the last all-decisive race. A start-to-finish victory for the three Audi Quattros. Hans-Joachim Stuck is the German saloon car champion for 1990.
Der neue Audi 100 mit V6-Motor. Das Einzige, was man von ihm hört, sind gute Kritiken.